had always believed I knew my wife. That thought shattered in a single heartbeat the night I found the truth. It began with a knock at the study door. Soft, almost apologetic. "Henry," her voice called. "Are you still working?" I looked up from the papers strewn across my desk, tired but content in the quiet of our home. Sarah stood there, her silk robe slipping from one shoulder, hair tousled from the bath, her perfume, once comforting, suddenly foreign to me. "I'll be up in a minute," I said, smiling. She nodded and left, the sound of her slippers fading down the hallway. That night I couldn't sleep. Something tugged at the corners of my mind, a subtle unease I couldn't place. I wandered into the study again, intending to organize some old documents. That's when I noticed the envelope, plain white, tucked behind the false back of a drawer. My name was scrawled across it in handwriting that made my stomach twist. Tore it open. Inside were photographs. Not ordinary snapshots. These were intimate, incriminating. Sarah with a man I didn't know. Hands wandering where they shouldn't. Text messages printed from her phone, plotting, scheming. Discussions of life insurance, of methods, of timing. The words blurred before my eyes, yet each sentence screamed the same horrifying truth. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my life, had been planning to kill me for my wealth. My hands shook. My breath came in short, uneven gasps. I sank into the chair, unable to reconcile the woman I loved with the person in those photographs. The next days were a haze. I went through the motions of life while my mind replayed every moment we had shared. Had I been blind? Had the laughter, the late-night talks, the quiet Sundays been nothing but a mask she wore for me? The thought was unbearable. I tried confronting her. Carefully I asked questions, testing her reactions. "Sarah," I said one evening, pouring myself a drink, "you've seemed distant lately. Is something wrong?" Her smile was warm, practiced. "Oh, Henry, don't be silly. Just work stress, that's all. You know I worry about you." Her words hit me like a slap. I wanted to believe her, desperately. But the envelope, the messages, the photographs, they wouldn't let me. A week later, I found myself outside her office at a small, dimly lit cafe. She had left her phone on the table, a careless mistake. I glanced down at it, not sure why, not sure what I expected, and saw a message blinking across the screen. "He suspects nothing. Tomorrow night it will be done. Be ready." I stumbled back to my car, nausea clawing at my stomach. The room spun. Had to think. Had to act. But act how? Call the police. Confront her. I needed proof, but I couldn't risk leaving the house. Couldn't risk her realizing I knew. I stayed awake that night, listening for the faintest creak of footsteps, the rustle of her robe. Every sound made my pulse race. The love I had once felt for her, pure, unwavering, was now twisted into something I couldn't name. Fear, anger, heartbreak, all coiled into a tight knot in my chest. The plan came to me in the early hours of the morning. I needed to confirm the truth, and there was only one way. I called my lawyer under the guise of updating my will and arranged for a trusted friend to install hidden cameras in our home. 2 nights later, Sarah returned home later than usual, laughing into her phone. She walked into the living room, still unaware of what I had uncovered. I watched from the shadows, my hands clenched into fists. The man arrived. I saw him through the camera feed. Tall, broad, confident. He moved towards her, and they whispered, smiles curling on their lips. I heard fragments of conversation, cold, calculated, cruel. "Everything is set. He won't see it coming." I felt the floor shift beneath me, my knees threatening to give way. She had come close to ending my life. And yet, here she was, laughing, planning, as if my existence was merely an obstacle to her desires. But then something changed. The man hesitated. Something about Sarah's expression, her eyes once tender and familiar, now hard and cold, made him pause. And then I saw it: doubt, fear, perhaps even a flicker of guilt. Sarah turned her back to him, her voice low. "No, not tonight. I can't." And that was the moment I understood the complexity of human emotion. She was capable of evil, yes. But she was also capable of hesitation, of internal conflict. My mind raced, trying to understand the layers of betrayal, love, and fear twisting through her. I confronted her the next morning, holding the printed screenshots in my trembling hands. "Sarah, I know everything," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Her face went pale, and for a moment she didn't speak. Then, with a shuddering breath, she said, "Henry, it's complicated. I didn't want to hurt you, but—" Her voice broke, tears spilling freely now. I felt trapped. Trapped in a life I didn't choose. I thought it was the only way. I wanted to scream, to hit, to shake her until she understood what she had done. But I didn't. Instead, I felt a cold, hollow clarity. This was the woman I had loved, yes. But she was not the woman I could ever trust again. "I can't," I whispered, shaking my head. "I can't forget this. I can't forgive this." She fell to her knees, grasping at my hands. "Please, Henry, please. Love you. I never meant for you to find out this way. Love." I laughed bitterly, a sound that cut through the room like glass. "You call this love?" Her tears fell, silent accusations and desperate pleas mingling in the air. I wanted to hold her, to try and salvage something from the ruins of our life. But the betrayal was too deep, the wound too raw. In the days that followed, I made arrangements to leave. I couldn't stay in a home built on lies, where every glance and word might mask a knife poised to strike. I sold the house, moved to a small apartment near the city, and changed my routines. But even in the quiet of solitude, the images haunted me. Her smile as she plotted, the man's hesitant expression, the cruel joy in their whispered plans. Yet amidst the heartbreak there was clarity. I had survived. I had uncovered the truth before it was too late. And even as my heart ached with the knowledge of what could have been, I knew I would rebuild. Cautiously, warily, but fully. Sometimes in the deep silence of the night, I remember her voice, soft and pleading, and I allow myself a moment of sorrow for what we had lost. But I also remember the photographs, the messages, the coldness that lurked beneath her laughter. And I am grateful, not for her, but for my own survival, my own ability to see the truth, even when it was more painful than I could bear. In the end, betrayal taught me something I could not have learned otherwise. Love is fragile, trust is sacred, and sometimes, survival demands the courage to let go of everything you thought you knew about the person you loved most.